Hello dear viewers, a very warm welcome to our channel. In this video, we are going to have a look at the top 12 symptoms of a failing engine coolant temperature sensor. The engine coolant temperature sensor is a very crucial component in your vehicle's cooling system. When this sensor starts to fail, it can cause a variety of noticeable problems with your engine performance and operation. In this video, we will have a look at some of the top common and detailed symptoms that indicate your coolant temperature sensor is going bad. 1. Erratic or fluctuating temperature reading. The coolant temperature sensor provides real-time data on the engine temperature to the vehicle's computer. When the sensor is failing, the readings it provides will start to be inconsistent and unreliable. So, if you happen to notice that there is erratic or fluctuating reading of temperature, that could be an indication of a failing temperature sensor. 2. Sudden temperature spikes. A bad coolant temperature sensor may cause the temperature gauge to suddenly spike up to the hot or overheating range, even if the engine is still operating normally. So bad sensor can have an incorrect signal generated, and that can cause the temperature gauge on your dashboard to indicate that the engine is running hot, even though the engine is running normal. So sudden temperature spikes can also be indicative of a failing temperature sensor. 3. Coolant temperature always reading cold. Conversely, a faulty sensor can also cause the temperature gauge to always read cold, even when the engine is warmed up. So this is opposite to the sudden spike of temperature that we mentioned earlier. In this case, even though the engine has attained its operating temperature, even though the engine is warmed up, then the gauge still reads cold. So frequent cold reading indicated on your dashboard can be indicative of a failing temperature sensor. 4. Engine takes longer to warm up. If the sensor is not providing accurate temperature data, the engine control computer may have trouble regulating the warming up process. This can result in engine taking much longer than normal to reach its normal operating temperature. So if your engine is taking extra time to warm up, that could be caused by a faulty temperature sensor. 5. Check engine light illuminated on your dashboard. Most modern vehicles will set a diagnostic trouble code and turn on the check engine light if the coolant temperature sensor is not functioning properly. The check engine light will be illuminated for many reasons. In order to figure out what exactly has turned it on, you have to use a diagnostic tool in order to scan for trouble codes. Trouble codes associated with cooling system trouble and bad temperature sensor may be indicative of a failing temperature sensor. 6. Engine runs rich or engine runs lean. Inaccurate temperature reading from a bad sensor can cause the engine to run either overly rich, which indicates that there is too much fuel being admitted into the engine cylinders, or it can also cause the engine to run overly lean, where there is not enough fuel admitted into the cylinder. This is because the computer will decide the amount of fuel to be injected based on the temperature also. Computer will take so many parameters into consideration when deciding how much fuel has to be injected. One of them is engine temperature. For example, cold engines require additional fuel to be injected so that fuel vaporization and atomization is poor when temperature is cold. In order to overcome that and provide sufficient power for the engine to warm up quickly, the engine computer will decide to inject much fuel. Now, if the temperature sensor is reading cold all the time, the computer will decide to inject additional fuel, which will cause the air-fuel mixture ratio to run rich, causing engine running rich. However, if the temperature reading is reading that the temperature is hot, when actually the engine is not hot enough, then that can cause the computer to decide to inject less fuel, causing the air-fuel mixture to be lean. So that can be an indication of a failing temperature sensor. 7. Reduced fuel economy. The engine computer relies on the coolant temperature sensor to optimize fuel delivery and ignition timing for maximum efficiency. With a faulty sensor, this optimization is disrupted, leading to worse fuel economy. Reduced fuel economy can be caused by the engine computer assuming the engine is cold and injecting additional fuel engine running rich, that can increase fuel consumption, and that can lead to bad fuel economy. That could be an indication of a failing temperature sensor. 8. Rough idle or engine stalling sometime. Incorrect temperature data from the sensor can cause the engine to idle roughly, or even it might cause it to stall out completely in some cases. So rough idle and stalling can also be indicative of a failing temperature sensor. 9. Engine hesitation or misfiring. Similar to rough idle, a bad coolant temperature sensor can also cause your engine to hesitate. It can cause it to misfire, or it can cause to lose power during acceleration. Sluggish and poor acceleration can be sometimes caused by failing temperature sensor. 10. Overheating or sudden temperature increase. If the sensor indicates the engine is running much cooler than it actually is, this can lead to overheating and temperature spikes. In some cases, bad coolant temperature sensor can cause the engine control computer to think the engine is overheating, even if it is not overheating. This can sometimes lead the radiator fan to run excessively. The computer might decide to turn the radiator fan on, and that can cause excessive radiator fan running. 11. Increased emission. The engine computer uses coolant temperature data to control the air-fuel mixture and the catalytic converter operation. With a faulty sensor, emissions control may not function properly, resulting in higher emission. So higher emission can sometimes be attributed to bad or failing coolant temperature sensor. And finally, 12. Engine not reaching normal operating temperature. If the sensor indicates the engine is running hotter than it really is, the computer may keep the engine from fully warming up to its normal operating temperature range. If the engine is not able to properly warm up due to a faulty coolant temperature sensor, increased wear and tear can occur on internal engine components. Overall, bad coolant temperature sensor will prevent the engine from operating within its optimal operating temperature range, leading to all sorts of problems. So, there are many clear and noticeable symptoms that can indicate a failing engine coolant temperature sensor. So always pay attention to changes in temperature reading, changes in engine performance, and other signs that can help you diagnose and address this issue of a failing temperature sensor before it leads to more serious problems. So those are some of the top indicatives of a failing engine coolant temperature sensor. If you find this video helpful, please smash the like button. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing and turn on notifications so that you will be the first to get notified whenever we come up with another video. Until then, stay safe.